welcome to my channel. I'm Kristen, and today I'm going to share with you guys how I turned this into some home decor using shovels along with some other great hacks and DIY. So let's get into the video. Okay, you guys, I picked up 10 of these. They come with a little screw that is right on the back of these shovels. These are in the little children's section. Don't worry, I left plenty for the kids. I'm going to be starting out using this antique pewter. This is the Rust-Oleum forged hammer. I'm going to be spray painting 8 of these shovel heads. For this DIY, I'm actually just using the shovel heads, and then later on, I'm going to be using the wood pieces. So when I went to Dollar Tree, I don't go there as much as I used to, but I wanted plungers. So they had quite a few plungers, and then I saw these. I'm like, okay, I can actually use the entire thing on these shovels instead of just the wooden handle on the plungers. I'm also using that 50-cent sign, and I'm just spray painted it the same color, the antique pewter. And then one of the little handles, I did end up cutting them down. You're going to see later on. But I did have an extra piece, so I thought this would be perfect for the center because I'm going to be making a fun windmill. So I used one of those little circle signs. I picked them up for 50 cents at a yard sale. And then, like I said, 8 of these shovels. I'm not going to lie, you guys, my husband actually helped me out just a little bit. I saw this really cool, like, giant windmill metal. It was like a huge piece that somebody actually used like real shovels with. It was like huge. I saw it on Pinterest. I'm like, okay, how can I make one of these? And then when I saw these, I'm like, okay, I got to make that really cool. Obviously, this is not going to go outside. But the other one was absolutely amazing. If I can put a picture in here, I will for you guys to show you what I was inspired by because it was awesome. It'd be really cool to have in my yard. But I'm just going to be using some hot glue in this large square sign. This was from a yard sale as well. This piece was $2 and then I just painted it white and then I just never did anything with it. So this is the perfect thing to use it for. I'm going to be using this wood burning set. This is like a little wood burning tool. I'm just going to be poking some holes right into the shovel heads of this. Yeah, this smelled absolutely horrific. I didn't think it would smell as bad. I totally understand I'm like burning plastic, but I didn't think it was going to be as bad as what it was. And then I'm making a hole in every single one of these. Right now it looks like a flower. I'm trying to turn it into a solid looking windmill. So this is the tool. I picked it up at Walmart. So since I use that tool, yes, I'm using some spray paint in the house. I just spray painted a tiny bit to a little cardboard piece here, and I'm just touching up my little spots where I put the little wood burning tool in because you could see the shovel that was blue, the shovel that was yellow and red. So I'm just taking a little paintbrush with a little bit of spray paint and just touching those spots right up. All right, so now for the fun part, I just have some twine on hand. This was from Dollar Tree, and I always grab the twine that's in the 3-pack that's in the car/tool section. You get like a 3-pack, and a little bit goes a long way. I would say I have had probably the same little roll of twine for a while now, and with this video I finally used up an entire roll. I don't use twine a ton, so that's probably why I have it. So I made some holes so I can loop the twine through, and I'm doing that so I can actually make this look more like a windmill. I didn't want to use like any sort of like wire tool or wire, but you totally could if you wanted to. I guess it wasn't really a wire tool. And then this was just, I don't know, it wasn't exactly what I thought I had in mind. So I'm using this antique wax by Waverly with a sponge. I just cut this up. You can find sponges absolutely anywhere. You might have one under your sink you're not using. And I'm just going to be like dabbing the antique wax onto this, rubbing it in a little bit, making this just a little more rustic and rusty because windmills always seem to have just a little bit of touch of that rust. And that is all I did here. That's it. You're going to see a little bit of close up, but yeah, you can hang this right on your wall. And I think this is stunning for children's shovels from the Dollar Tree. next DIY, I'm using 2 shovels to their entirety. This burnished amber, this is also that like forged hammered Rust-Oleum spray paint. This is more gorgeous than I actually thought it'd be. When it dried, I was like, oh my gosh, this is probably one of my favorite spray paints. Now I'm just using the classic gray stain. I use this all the time in Spy Minwax, and I'm just going to be staining 2, since I'm using 2 shovels, of those little handles. This is what it looks like when it is dry. I think this is beautiful. I just screwed the little screws back into place, and I'm using some hot glue to put the 2 shovels together. With stain, this was a chore. Like, trust me, I used so much hot glue. I decided to take some twine and then just wrap it a few times every which way on the shovels so they would stay in place. And then I just tied a knot, and this worked out really good. I was really impressed, and I'm like, okay, like, it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be covering this anyways, but I highly recommend to do this. I just do not trust hot glue on its own. And then I just trimmed it. Now, obviously, I did not know how to work my camera at this point. I realized it was on the wrong setting. It was out of focus, but this burlap is from Walmart. I'm cutting it, I want to say about 3 inches. It was folded. I was just kind of estimating, guessing on how I was going to make these. So I made 3 different bows just kind of by folding and squishing and tying. I'm not a bow maker. I'm not great at it. But I think this one turned out really cute. I was pretty impressed with my bow making skills. Bows are made and tied up. I just started gluing them together every other way, just so it was making a larger bow. So I just kind of tossed the 3 on top of each other, and then I had that rose. It was a burlap rose from Burlap Fabric, and this eucalyptus from Walmart. I already had this kind of tore up, so I just thought that I would just tie a bunch of these little pieces together just to make a little bouquet, and I'll be putting it on the top and the end of one of these shovels, and then I'm just going to be throwing that bow right in the center. There you go. You have the cutest little door hanger. I am obsessed with this. I love this burlap. If you can find it, I think I actually got it from a mystery box, but it was from Walmart. It is beautiful, and this spray paint is absolutely on point with these shovels. I have all of these handles left over, so let's use them. It's kind of what I came into the Dollar Tree for anyways before I was even going to think of shovels. So I'm just using the Jacobine, whatever we want to call it, however we want to say it, Minwax stain. I love this stain. It is so pretty. I love this dark color. So for one of those little dowels, I'm using some yarn, and I'm going to be cutting them 2 feet long because we're going to make just a cute little fun like yarn hanging decor piece. Yarn is not my thing. I do not know how to macrame to save my life. I know you don't macrame with yarn, so nobody come at me with that. But I'm just going to be looping these around. So I go from the bottom and then just kind of loop the little yarn in that little hole, and then I go about my way. So all this yarn came from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to be using 2 different kinds of this white and then this like very pretty like taupe brown light color. It's beautiful. It's really pretty. And I just thought these 3 looked really, really good together without doing anything too. This took a while. You're going to want to cut, I want to say 18 or 19 strands of each color to fill this entire thing up. These little wood pieces, I think these are 11.5 inches long. I'm going to be tying a piece of yarn to this. Once that was done, I'm going to be using these wooden roses from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be gluing 3 of them to the bottom center of this yarn. I did not want them on the top of the little wood piece just because I want to say wooden dowel. They kind of remind me of wooden dowels because they would not have stayed because the little roses are so pointy. But you guys, that is it for this DIY. DIY, I'm going to be using, I think I used 3 or 4 of these because I messed up on my cuts, but I'm going to be making some 2-inch cuts and then some 4-inch cuts as well. They did not turn out perfect, but honestly, I love the way that this project turned out. So I'm just going to be using this DeWalt miter saw, and I'm just going to be cutting a bunch of pieces. I still have my little glove on because I was going to stain and I never took it off, so that is why I'm wearing a glove. Be safe when you use a saw, especially when you're using like these little wooden dowels. I had one get away from me. Luckily, it just took the wood and not my finger because my fingers were pretty far away from the saw. So, but it is a pretty like painful-ish process when that wooden dowel hits your finger. So I stained these and then I cut them, and then I knew I was going to have to restain them again, but it really didn't bother me. So I have 4 of these little 3 to 4 inch pieces, and then 8 of these little 2-inch pieces, and I'm going to end up gluing them together. But first I obviously had to sand them down just to get the pieces that I cut. They were not smooth at all. So then I started gluing them together. We're going to be making some like rustic fun coasters. I think these turn out super cute. They're really they just work. I think they're fun. I liked using the stain. I think it's pretty. I did nothing more than put these little, they remind me of turds. So we're just going to say that. They kind of remind me of turds. Or a chocolate bar. It could be a chocolate bar for sure. Where's my head at? And then I'm just going to be staining just so it's all fully stained from the parts that I cut that were not fully stained. So there you go. I made 2 of these. I didn't think I needed any more. I threw a candle on here. You can also use it as a candle if you don't want to use it as a coaster, but these are so stinking cute. This one, I had an extra wooden dowel or a little shovel handle, and I just cut a ton of random little pieces because I had a couple that I messed up on, and I'm like, these would be so cute to make flowers with. So these are not in any way, shape, or form measured out at all. I just thought this was really cute as like a last minute DIY. I didn't want to waste anything that I bought. So yeah, so I'm just gluing these together, and then I'm going to be staining them with the Jacobine stain. Yeah, I kind of stained everything. It was like, I was in the moment, I was in the mood, the stain was out, and I just wanted to create something really fun with stain. I love using it, and so yeah, you're going to see a lot of stain in this video. Pretty much everything to the end is totally stained. Then I realized a flower is not really brown, but we're making it rustic here. So I just ended up using some Waverly chalk paint in white and just kind of dry brushing around the edges and just making this look more like a flower. I kept the inside the same. I thought about maybe adding some yellow, but I did not. I'm using this wood hanging door sign from Dollar Tree, and this is greenery, some twine. I'm going to be wrapping the twine around the bottom of this sign until you could no longer see the sign, because I'm going to be making this like a fun little pocket to put the greenery and florals in. Just going to be a really cute door sign, or you could hang it on your wall. You can really do whatever you want with it, but since it says hanging wood door sign or whatever the little tag said, that's what we're going to work with. So that's what it looks like when it's done, and then I'm going to be cutting these down, sticking the greenery in. I also ended up adding some lavender in here. The lavender is from Walmart, and it was already cut down from a different project. I just really like to reuse a lot of my florals because you never know what you're going to come up with, or if you change your mind and want to do something else. And then right here, I was just trying to figure out where I was going to put these flowers, since I wanted this to be kind of like a little floral bouquet with my wooden my little wooden flowers. Okay, so the top of the sign looked pretty bare, so I'm going to be using these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree as well, and I'm just going to be using this welcome home, and then a little bit of the greenery rub-on transfers for around the welcome home. And I think this really perfected the top, because at first I just kind of left it, and then I'm like, okay, something needs to be on the top. This looks so bare and it looks so plain, but I think this is the cutest little sign. for 2 of these shovel handles, I have my beautiful little ruler out. I think I picked this up for absolutely nothing from Walmart when they always have this sale. So I have had this for years, and I don't know. I have measuring tapes. I have all the things, but you know, it's about this ruler. I'm just going to be cutting these in half. They're going to be about 5.5 inches. I think they're, or 5.25. I can't remember exactly. I cut them exactly in half. So cutting them in half, and then I will have 4 pieces, and I'm going to be making a little planner. So this did not turn out exactly how I wanted. I ended up using a couple Jenga blocks for the center. I see people do these all the time, although I don't really follow along with the tutorial, so maybe I should do that next time for sure. But I'm using 5 of these little Jenga blocks, or these little tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree, and then I'm going to be gluing them to the shovel handles to make a cute little planner. So you're going to see, I'm going to go back and I'm going to restain this. That was dry, I decided to tape the legs down and then just paint the bottoms white. And I did this because this stain is beautiful. I use it so many times, but it depends on what wood you use. Sometimes it turns out a little bit darker, and this was just a little bit too dark than what I wanted. It already started to fall apart, so I had to re-glue everything. And then I added this little plant in this planter. I have a succulent I've had for years. Trust me, it is thriving. It is growing more growth. It is such a cool little succulent. And then my daughters painted this pot for me 1 year for Mother's Day. But you guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed these Dollar Tree shovel hacks. If you did, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, consider sticking around and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.